welcome back to the DownLo Weekly Show, where we give you the lowdown on sports, tech, music, innovators of the week. As your host, Manny C, and
Lauren B. Welcome back, you guys. Welcome back to our show. I'd like to introduce our guests. We're so excited and honored to introduce our featured guest. She was born and raised in El Monte, California. She has been an educator for the past 20 years. She served on the El Monte City School District Governing Board as president. She has served as councilwoman for the City of El Monte for 2 years, and now she has been officially elected as the mayor of El Monte. Welcome, Jessica Ancona.
welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Manny. Thank you for bringing me on this show. It was great for you guys to reach out. I'm excited to be talking to you guys tonight to give your listeners, and I know it's a lot of El Monte residents, the opportunity to get to know me on a more personal level. But a lot of people, during my campaign had a lot of questions about me. So I'm happy to share my story of how I've come to be where I'm at right now in all these years of my life. I won't give my age away just yet. but
Now,
yes.
Mayor Ancona. So, is it okay if we call you Mayor Ancona, by the way?
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Awesome.
That's fine.
So, I have a story before we get started. So, I remember meeting you at my second job. I was working 2 jobs, and I'm not going to name the second job because
Okay.
confidentiality and everything. And then
Whoa.
I remember my coworkers were like, "The councilwoman's coming. The councilwoman's coming." I'm like, "Really? This is like the first time I get to really see her and like meet her." And they're like, "Yeah, she's really sweet. Just be nice to her." And I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. Okay." Because I was new at the job, and it was for an outreach program. And I remember you came in. I was like, "Oh, I'm super nervous. I'm super nervous." And they're like, "Just be nice to her. She's super nice." And when you came across, I was like, "I know her from my other job." So
Oh,
I introduced myself, and you were so
that's
nice. Yeah, and they're like, "I hope she becomes mayor one day." I was like, "I hope so too. She's
oh
so
my
sweet."
goodness.
And then here we are.
Spoken into existence.
Let me tell you, I never thought I'd be running for mayor. For me, I was like, okay, I served on the school board for one term for 5 years. And then I saw a vacancy at the council level and thought, okay, the school district's doing great.
Mhm.
How about I give city council a shot, being that there was a vacancy, and I felt like I could impact even more people in the city of El Monte. So that's when I decided to run. That was in 2018, just 2 short years ago. How time has flown by. I'm like, geez, like trying to think the best way to share a little bit about my story, right? So let me just go straight into it. My parents are immigrants from Mexico. They
Okay.
arrived to the city of El Monte in 1972. Little did they think that their little girl, I'm the youngest of three, would someday grow up to be the mayor of the city that they've lived in the United States all their lives. So I'm the youngest of three. I have two older brothers, Jorge and Jose. We're all educators, funny enough. My
Oh.
oldest brother is the assistant vice chancellor at UC Riverside. He oversees the Alumni Association. So he's the executive director of the UC Riverside Alumni Association. And then my other brother is a high school teacher, a Spanish teacher at Claremont High School.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he's been a track coach and cross country coach, and he's done very well also. And I started off as a high school teacher. I taught for 10 years at Rosemead High School. Then I moved on for an administrative position at Muscatel Middle School in Rosemead. I served 4 years as the assistant principal, then principal is 5 years. And my heart was always with the high school kids. So I knew I would always return to the high school level. So after 9 years at the middle school level, I decided to start looking for a job at the high school level. So now I'm an assistant principal at Marco Antonio Fireball High School in Linwood.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yes, my heart was always with the high school kids, having been a teacher actually at my own alma mater. Like I went to Rosemead High School. I grew up in El Monte, but
Okay.
I grew up over by Arden and Valley near
Okay.
Baldwin.
Yeah.
Yes. So I attended Shropshire Elementary School, Gidley Middle School, and then went on to Rosemead High School. Yeah, a lot of people asked during my campaign, did she even grow up here? Where did she go to school?
That's what they always
Uh,
ask, huh?
Yeah.
right. They want to know if you're rooted in Almani. Yes, I'm rooted. Born and raised. So yeah, you know, when I was at Rosemead High School, I was a softball coach. I
Oh,
was a cheer
cool.
advisor. So yeah, I always knew that I wanted to go back to the high school level. The reason why I went into middle school administration is because at the time my kids were little.
Mhm.
They were still, you know, playing sports. I have two children. My son, Eduardo, Eddie, he's 20. He's a
Oh, wow.
junior at UC Irvine. And my daughter, Juliana, she's a freshman at Pasadena Community College. And they're both graduates from Arroyo High School. So,
Yes. Yeah.
A royal both in the house.
Shout out to your
I
daughter.
know.
She made a cameo already. I saw her in the corner saying
I
what's
know
up
it's
to us.
so
So we had to say hi.
Of
We had
course,
to say
we had to
hi.
say hi.
Yeah.
We're like,
I'll let her know.
That's super cool about the high
Yeah.
school, about softball and cheerleading, because someone I know, my co-host,
yeah,
she actually played softball and was in cheer in a row too. So that's super awesome.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. So
exactly.
remember, I'm a Panther. So it was a
Oh,
little different, you know, a
that's
little
right.
difficult when I knew they were going to Arroyo. They went to Frank
Yeah.
Wright, K through 8, and then they went to Arroyo. And so I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I could wear that black and blue. but but sure enough. But actually, my first year in teaching, I actually taught at Arroyo my first year as a
Oh,
long-term sub.
wow.
Oh,
And
cool.
I coached the varsity softball team. I was the head coach.
No
Uh,
way.
uh-huh. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
So, and then after that, I got hired to work at Rosemead High School full time. And they said, well, you can't be a coach at Arroyo and be a teacher at Rosemead.
Hmm.
So I said, okay. So, you know, I decided to start coaching at Rosemead High School.
So, Mayor Ancona, I want to ask you, what made you get into education in the first place? Like, what's your drive to be in education and to do so well and be so successful in education?
Oh, thank you. So, you know, after graduating high school, so I was an athlete. I was a student athlete. I grew up playing softball at Amani Phillies, actually, Laura. And I heard one of your stories
Oh, that's
Oh,
that
awesome.
wow, that's
that you
amazing.
grew up playing El Monte Phillies,
I
and I
did.
grew up playing El Monte Phillies from the age of
Hmm.
7.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, so to all my fellow El Monte Phillies kids out there, young ladies,
Yes.
it taught us a lot about coming together and working with other people. Team sports, I think, is great. So when I was in high school, I had a bad shoulder injury, and I thought to myself, I wanted to go into sports medicine. Because of my injury, I was actually being looked at by a few colleges, and my shoulder injury, my parents didn't have health insurance, so surgery for me wasn't an option. So I played catcher. I needed my arm, right, to throw. So once that injury came on, I was pretty much done. So I was pretty bummed. And so I thought I want to pursue a career in athletic training because I want to be able to serve the high school kids, to work at the high school level and work with these student athletes and teach them about preventing injuries, so on and so forth. I got admitted to UCLA. So
Nice.
Wow.
yes. So while I was there, I started my course of study, which was physiological science, and everybody in those classes were pre-med, and I'm like, well, I'm not pre-med. I don't want to be a doctor.
Hmm.
So I started taking general elective classes at Chicano Studies, and I really liked it.
Hmm.
So I switched majors. I was the athletic trainer for the UCLA football team for 2 seasons, for
Oh,
2
wow.
years. And actually,
Amazing.
even for the UCLA softball team, I got to be their trainer for 1 season as well as a student.
That's super awesome.
Did
Yeah,
you ever
yeah,
work with, I'm sorry, did you
yes,
ever work with Lisa Fernandez?
yes. She was
Oh
one of
my
the head coaches at the time.
gosh, that's amazing.
Yes, and Sue Enquist was still there. And oh my gosh, what's this gal's name? Oh, the other head coach now. I believe she's Japanese.
Yes, Japanese. I think she might be mixed. She works
Yeah,
alongside with Lisa Fernandez.
yes.
Yes.
So I was out in the softball field with them. So that was, to me, I was like fangirl moment, you know.
Yes.
That's Lauren too.
I'm like
Yes.
fangirling, like, yeah.
So then I decided to switch majors, Chicano studies, and then afterwards I decided, okay, I'm going to go back and be a teacher. I think Chicano studies, cultural studies is something that at the time very few knew of. And I thought this is
Mhm.
something that should be taught at the high school level so that we could learn about our history. I found it very interesting. It even angered me a little bit, some of the stuff that I learned about our history, about, Mexican immigrants. So I decided to go back to teach.
Mhm.
And I thought maybe I could be a Chicano studies teacher. At the time, it was unheard of. It wasn't available at the high school level. Now there's several schools that are starting to teach like ethnic studies, cultural studies, Chicano studies. So that's something that I'm really excited to see happening. So I decided to go into teaching because I remember as a high school kid, my senior year, I made sure to, I was taking hard classes and then I was like, my kids, my friends get to hang out and play cards in so-and-so's class, econ class. So I was like, I want to be in that class. In retrospect, I think now that I cheated myself from an education a little bit, in the sense of I wanted to take the easy way out. And then I thought about which were the teachers that were most impactful. And, I could think of a couple. One of them was Miss Martinez. She was a math teacher, and she wouldn't stop working with you until you understood algebra.
Oh my gosh.
I remember she was a little dynamite. She was awesome. She was one teacher who I thought was amazing. And then I had another teacher actually in middle school, Miss McWhorter. In fact, when I was on the school board, she was still working for the El Monte City School District. So it was
Oh wow.
crazy to see her, and she's like, oh my gosh, Jessica, like, yeah, even teaching at Rosemead High School, teaching amongst my former teachers, my former classmates, coaching alongside my coach, coaching against my coach. When I was the Arroyo softball coach, I played against her.
It's a
And
mentor versus a student, you know?
yeah, it was awesome. So I went into teaching, did 10 years, decided I wanted to go into administration as my kids were getting older. And I did. So I did the middle school level for 9 years. That was fun. But now that my kids are grown, I'm like, I
Mhm.
have more time on my hands. I could go to the football games. I could go to the, band concerts. I can do all of this. Like, they're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
We just cross paths coming in and out of the house. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
That's super awesome. And I know you talked about coaching, teaching at the same time. And that leads me to my second question about how do you
Sure.
balance your work, your public service work, and also your family? How do you deal with all that?
Well, let me just share. It's not easy because
Hmm.
I could be a little bit of a workhorse. I'm blessed because as a single mom, my parents still live in El Monte.
Nice.
So they've always been very supportive. Like when I've gone back to school for my master's degree, my mom was always around to help me with my children. My children's father also lives in the city in El Monte, so he's close by. So he was able to help me out a lot as well with the kids. I decided to run for school board in 2013.
Okay.
So at the time, my daughter was 11 and my son was 13. So they were a little older. They didn't need so much, care as if they were, younger, 4 or 5 years old. So I've been fortunate to have a strong support system between my parents and their dad. So that helped me in my career, going back to school and
Hmm.
advancing my career and all of that. Once I got into public service, I would say that serving as a school board member, we would meet once a month, sometimes twice a month, and it wasn't as heavy as the schedule as serving on the council now. That's a little bit heavier in regards to city events and special council meetings and reviewing all the information that we're going to approve. So I've had to learn how to balance it. Fortunately, because I'm an administrator, I'm an educator, we're on the academic calendar, right? So
Hmm.
we have, Christmas off, we have Thanksgiving off, we have spring break, we have summer. So I'll work hard while I'm at work, and then I have my breaks. So that's when I really take advantage. I love to travel.
Nice.
Started in 2013, I started traveling every year. I would take one big trip from, gosh, I've been to Spain, Colombia,
Oh wow.
Dominican
Amazing.
Republic, Bali, Croatia. of course, Mexico, would go to Mexico every summer, but
Mm-hmm.
just really have had the opportunity to travel. And I'm going to say, thanks to my career has been a blessing and afforded me the opportunities to travel. Aside from travel, if I can't get away, I like spending time with friends or going to sports games. One of my hobbies, I'm sure as many saw, I love to golf.
Oh, wow.
So yes,
That's
I like to golf. So being a softball player, my swinging isn't always the best, but I try. I do have a group of girlfriends or even some, male colleagues. Every now and then we'll get together. It's one of our pastimes that we enjoy
Mm-hmm.
because it's a slower pace. We're out there. It's kind of quiet. So it's good. It's a good way to relax.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. And one of the questions I wanted to follow up was, what's your favorite place you traveled to? I know you named a lot of them, but which one's like your, oh my gosh, I need to go back travel spot or country?
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. I love beach destinations. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's my thing. If there's a beach, I'm there. Um, Bali was pretty amazing. I think I would have liked to spend more time there. It was just kind of peaceful,
Mm-hmm.
the tranquility, the nightlife. I mean, it wasn't really about the nightlife. It was just about embracing the culture, the
Yeah.
serenity. Yeah, it was just a different world, I guess you could say. And it was actually really inexpensive. Once you
Yeah.
got there, it was very inexpensive. I could probably stayed out there for a month because it's inexpensive. And one of the funny things is,
Mm-hmm.
when I was out there, one of my sorority sisters from UCLA, I would see that she would travel back and forth in that area, that
Mm-hmm.
she had been in Bali. So I messaged her and I said, "Hey, could you give me some recommendations of where to attend, like places to visit?" And she goes, "When will you be here?" And I said, "No way, you're there." She goes, "Yeah, I've been living here."
Wow.
So almost 20 years later, after college,
Mm-hmm.
there I am in Bali, out to dinner with her.
Nice.
So
That's so crazy. Like you contact her and then you're like, oh, she's like, I'm already here. Let me know when you come.
yeah,
I'm like, okay.
yeah. Yes. So that was incredible, which I would love to go back to, just to do a few more things. Because usually when you go to a destination your first time, it's kind of like trying to figure out, you know, where to go and, where to hang out, what to
Yeah.
do. And then you're like, oh, I should have spent more time there. So
Yeah. It's like you try to
I would
conquer the
probably
whole,
say, well,
you try to conquer all of
yeah,
Bali in like one day, but it's pretty hard to do that. So
yeah,
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 Lori and
yeah,
I,
yeah.
we eventually want to go once all this craziness is over, So
Of course. That's what I miss the most. That's what I miss the most during this pandemic,
yeah.
not being able to travel.
So, Mayor Ancona, congratulations again. I know we probably told you congratulations like 20 times, but we're
It's
so happy
okay.
that you were elected. We wanted to ask you, tell us about the day that you were elected. Where were you and how did it feel to be officially elected as mayor?
Okay, so on election day, this year was so different. We normally have the election night parties, whether it be we host one or we join friends in LA election night parties, especially with the presidential race. However, this time with the pandemic, I was like, what am I gonna do? I
Yeah.
can't, you know, I want to do something obviously with my family and maybe a couple of my friends. So we gathered at my parents' house, and we were sitting around, had CNN on, we're watching the presidential information, and I had friends, several who are in the political arena, and Orange County posted their numbers first,
Mm-hmm.
and we're like, what about LA? What about LA?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're all on our phones, we have computers out, and my daughter was the first one to see the election, the
Oh,
results come up, the first posting, and she's like, Mom, you're first. And everybody's like, what? And we all like crowd around her kind of
Oh, that's
sitting
awesome.
there,
oh my
and we're
gosh.
like high-fiving, hugging each other. Actually, Councilman Martinez Mola was with me as well. We've been friends, so she was there with me because she was in the race as well, and we were helping each other.
Mhm.
So her results came up too, and she was in the top two. So it was just
Amazing.
cheering, excitement, And then as the numbers continued to post throughout the night, like the lead increased and increased and increased. And I never dropped into second place. And it was surreal because I was literally, I had been working so hard, really hadn't had an opportunity to stop and let it sink in. And I remember that afternoon, I was like, I've done everything I can. There's nothing else I can do. It's in God's hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for a minute there, I'm like, well, if I don't win, at least I gave it my best. And I know I ran a clean campaign, and I will still serve as a councilwoman, was my thought. But when, all that came in, I started getting phone calls and text messages. And the next day, my phone was blown up. I had voicemails. I had messages coming in at 6 a.m. I think we didn't get to bed till 3 a.m. By the time like the adrenaline was going, I'm like, who's texting me at 6 a.m.? Like, come on now, people. But people were, waking up to go to work, and they were excited to see the results. So yeah, amazing. It was amazing. And then it kind of hit, the media started calling, whether it be newspapers, and then Telemundo, and then Channel 4, NBC News. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I getting myself into, and even, my parents started receiving calls of congratulations. So all around, it's been surreal. Like, I just keep, waiting for it to slow down, or I don't know, someone pinch me, wake up. But it was just been amazing. The outpouring, I'm going to say, of love from the community. Everyone's so excited. I'm honored. I'm honored to serve El Monte. My intentions really weren't ever to run for mayor. I was like, I don't want to, that's a big job. But I mean, I had been the president of the school board, so to a certain extent, it's similar in the sense of the role you chair the meetings. So I've chaired meetings before, so I know, but of the being the mayor of the 10th largest city in LA County out of 88 cities. We're number 10 out of 88 cities. We're the 10th largest. Has been, nothing that I probably would have dreamed of.
Did you expect the results to be that, like, the way they came out?
No, I thought it was going to be a lot closer. I really thought it was going to be, we're going to be waiting down to the wire, to the last days that the numbers were posting. Only because I know, the mayor has been challenged many times, and he's always won. The reason I ran was because I felt we were being silenced on the dais. There's a video that went viral, a meeting on July 7th. It's on my Instagram.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, where he just completely shut us down, me and Councilman Martinez Muela. And, we had some incidents in the past, but, to me, running for office, women should be places where decisions are being made.
Yes.
I just wanted a seat at the table. I wanted my voice to be heard. And when I wasn't being given that opportunity, as I was elected by my community to do, I turned to Councilman Martinez Muela afterwards, and I said, who's running, you or me? Like, I was just like, we need to do something, because it's not fair. It's not fair where, we all have one vote. The mayor has one vote, and each council member has one vote. So our votes are equal.
Yeah.
Right. So to be treated as if our voice didn't matter just didn't sit right with me. So instead of complaining about it, I'm like, I have to do something about it. So I jumped in the race, and the rest is history.
So
that's so awesome.
Literally that day, you're like, I'm gonna run for mayor. Or was it like a amount of times where you're like, okay, I might?
Probably after 2 weeks, the decision was made. And I was just trying to put my team together, my campaign team together, and see, okay, who we're bringing on board, and how am I going to announce this? So the announcement was most fun for me. A lot of back and forth. Should I? Shouldn't I? I just ran 2 years ago. I really don't have any money in my campaign account. It's like starting from scratch. And as soon as I announced it, started making calls. I got a lot of support. And I will say I'm blessed to have the support that I have, because my support didn't necessarily come from people. Yes, there was a lot of support from vendors in the city, but a lot of them were afraid to get behind me because I was taking on the mayor. So I have such a wonderful network of friends and colleagues. That's what helped get me across the finish line. They're the ones that really stepped it up and said, "You're going to win this, girl." I mean, I even had sorority sisters sending money in,
That's
friends from
awesome.
college,
So
friends from
cool.
high school. Friends from high school were sending me money, and they don't even live in Almani anymore. So it was just amazing.
All right. And another big news that happened this year in 2020 was all councilwomen in the city of El Monte. So that's super awesome. You want to talk about that and what it means for the city of El Monte and just for women in general?
It's amazing. And I'm a little speechless. Even though I've been asked this question before, it's still surreal. There have only been 4 other cities in the state of California since the state's inception, right? Since it
Wow.
became a state, that has had an all-woman council. So I believe we're the 5th city to have an all-woman council. Well, that's actually for the time being, because once I get sworn in and Councilwoman elect Alma Puente gets sworn in, there'll be 4 of us, and my seat becomes vacated. So depending on who gets appointed in, or if we have to go to an election, we'll see how the council ends up. But just in this new age of politics, it's been amazing to see young voters come out. The changes of the faces of the council, right? The changes in the faces of the councils, school boards. It used to be, normally if you think back, even go back 20 years to Almani, I was like, or maybe now I'm in the older folk group, but a lot of times it was retired people, right, that would serve as our council members, mayors, even on the school board. It used to be retired teachers, or retired business people, and ever since, I'm gonna say, maybe when Barack Obama ran, we started seeing a change. When Hillary ran for president, that's when we had a big women turnout. And it's only increased and increased and increased. And, even this year, the historic election of Biden and Harris, Harris being not only the first woman, but women of color to sit on the highest level of government representing us, is huge. The night of their acceptance speech, right, when they were announced that they were now president and vice president elect, I cried. And I'm going to say I'm not very emotional. I've become emotional as I've gotten older. But that night was just like, wow. Her speech moved me more so than even President Biden's, to be quite honest. I just was like, she's the first woman in office and she's not going to be the last, right? And I just thought, what a beautiful thing. And then, of course, like, I'm running as well, and I won. And, it's been 20 years since the city of El Monte has had a female mayor.
Wow.
The last female mayor was Rachel Montes 20 years ago. And so now, it's me. I believe in total we've had 4. I'm the 4th female mayor in the history of Almani. So if people ask me, are you the first female? And I said, no, I'm not. There were other trailblazers before me, but it's still truly an honor. And the opportunity to work with 4 other women, and all working professionals, right? Mayor Pro Tem Maria Morales, I know she's been working on her doctorate. Our newly councilwoman-elect Alma Puente, she's an immigration attorney. Councilwoman Martinez Muela has been in education as well for a long time, and she's now the longest serving council member. She's now the most senior, having been on for 9 years. So the rest of us are new. So we'll be looking to her for her institutional knowledge. I really am looking forward to the opportunity to work together, because we all bring in just that perspective of family, of mothers. Not that men don't, but you know, I don't know, there's something about us women. We're multitaskers. We raise kids, we go to school, we carry on a full job, you know, and we still have time to come home and make dinner.
Exactly.
It's you know, for me, the busier I am, I feel like the more productive I am. When I have too much time on my hands, I procrastinate.
Yeah.
But the more I have on my plate, it's like, vamonos, what's next? What's
Yeah.
next? So no, it really is a wonderful thing. And I'm looking forward to working with, you know, this our newest council member and getting to know her. And I know we all have amazing ideas. So, you know, as long as we can work together, the sky's the limit for us.
Yeah.
We could make history here in El Monte.
And
So
yeah, I'm super happy that you're on the show too, because I have a lot of nieces that listen to the show, and you know, they're
oh,
gonna see like, oh wow, you know, a woman's mayor, you know, that's super awesome. Just setting the
yeah.
example for the youth, right? It's so awesome.
Absolutely. One more thing I want to share is this was my daughter's first time to vote.
Oh,
So
okay.
so not only was she able to vote for her mom running for mayor, also was able to vote for the first female vice president. So that's historic in itself too. And she's so proud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My son doesn't show his emotions as much. He's like, okay, mom, whatever, you know, he's 20, he's a junior in college, but she's just been so sweet. She's been on the campaign trail with me. She did a little bit of campaigning just via social media, rallying her friends to vote. And she'd also try to protect me.
Yeah.
Anytime someone would try to say something negative about me, she'd be like, Mom, they said this about you. And I said, I mija, you know, like not everyone's gonna be happy with me running or whatever. I said, just ignore it. So yeah, it's definitely a year of many firsts, I guess you could say.
Is
Yes.
she planning to do politics in the near
I-
future?
you know, I told her, I'm like, in fact, today we're just having this conversation. We're driving home from Trader Joe's. I asked her, so mija, when you want to run for school board, when are you ready? And she's like, I thought about it, Mom, but I don't think so. I think I'll just be good just teaching. She wants to be a teacher.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Awesome.
Yeah, well, she has a great role model, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I told her, mija, I'll raise the money for you. I'll get your campaign team together. Like, I got you.
Yes.
But we'll see. We'll see. She's a sweetheart. She's got a really good heart. So we'll see what the future holds for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you too is, you mentioned earlier you're a vice principal in the Linwood area, correct?
Yes.
So
Yes.
can you talk about how that works with being a mayor as well? Because I mean, I think some people think a mayor is a full-time job. It's, you know, 24/7, 365 days a year. But do you want to talk about that process and just to clear that up for
Oh,
everybody?
absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for asking that, actually. Yes. So here in El Monte, we are a general law city. So all of our elected members, it's a part-time job. You know, people think you run for politics for money. Nope. Nope. You know, it's obviously a part-time position, more like volunteer. A few $100 a month doesn't pay my mortgage or my bills. It really is, right, your commitment to serve the community, to be a public servant. As an assistant principal, right, I have my 7:30 to 4 o'clock job at least till 4. If we have more events and we're obviously staying later, we're never really off the clock. If there's emergencies, you know, that come through, something happens at the school, or, you know, we get phone calls and we have to take them. So yeah, my full-time job is a high school administrator. So yeah, you know, being on the council, being in an elected position, even being on the school board, you know, it's not a full-time job. Larger cities, like for example, the city of LA, yes, it's a full-time job. They're a huge city with millions of constituents. We're much smaller in that sense. So yeah, it's a part-time job, not getting rich off of this,
Well,
as some people may have thought. So
well, that should just tell people how committed you are, right? Because people think like, oh, you know, she might just do it for the money or the fame, but it's like you said, it's serving your community. It's being there for the people of El Monte, and that's a great testament to you, right? You know, people
Yeah, thank
understanding
you.
how a
Yeah,
mayor, the position of the mayor works in El Monte, and yeah, I just think that's super
yeah,
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It is. Thank you so much, just for asking that question so that people understand. Right? It's a part-time position. It definitely doesn't pay for much of the bills. I mean, it is something, but yeah, not enough to. You know, I have two teenage drivers.
Yeah,
That alone
that insurance,
breaks
you
the
know.
bank. Exactly. So yeah. Um,
I was gonna ask you, we talked about maybe your daughter going into politics or serving the community. So let's say someone listening to the show, what advice would you give them, you know, get them into serving the community or getting into the political realm?
Right. Well, I mean, first thing I would suggest, if you want to get involved, think about what area you would like to get involved in. If you want to get involved, say, at the school district level. Well, here in Almani, we have 4 school districts. So we have Almani High School District,
Mm-hmm.
Almani City School District, Mountain View School District. Well, Valley Lindo School District is actually in South Almani, and Rosemead School District does serve a few kids in Almani. So in total, it's 5 school districts, 4 elementary districts and 1 high school district. So, the thing is, where's your passion? Start watching the meetings. Start, listening in. What are some of the concerns? What is your concern as, as a resident? Why would you choose to run, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's also the Rio Hondo Community College District, right? Is the entire city of Almani. That's one of their seats. So, to be able to serve at that level, also make decisions as to, what the community college is offering, providing oversight of their monies, all of that stuff. And then, of course, then there's city council. We also have a clerk, an elected clerk, and an elected treasurer in the city of Almani. And then, of course, and there's higher office. There's
Hmm.
assembly, there's Senate, Congress, so and then from there it just goes up. LA County supervisors. So I would say, find where you feel you need to, what you're more passionate about,
Yeah.
and where you would like to make a difference, at what level. Become informed. Oftentimes many of these agencies, I'm saying agencies like school districts and the city or community college, they'll have some commissions like planning commission or oversight committees. For example, we have the Measure EM Oversight Committee. So as you all know, we have that 0.5% sales tax here in El Monte. There is a committee that is committed just to provide oversight on that revenue generated in the city of El Monte, what we're doing with it, how we're spending it. And that's written into, when it was a ballot initiative, it has to be a separate body that will also advise the council as to, how the money is being spent,
Mm-hmm.
or what they want to spend it on. And then it's for the council to receive their feedback and take action. We have a water and sewer enterprise commission. So there's other ways to get involved. There, in fact, might be some openings at the city level soon. So if people are interested, just be on the lookout to, apply. And then we make nominations and we appoint as a council. So, and that would probably be listed on the city site.
Okay.
Mayor
And I'll
Ancona.
put a blast out. We'll put a blast out. I'll put a blast out on my social media if that opportunity does come up.
That'd be awesome. Mayor Ancona, I want to ask you, do you need any experience with public service before, like running in like anything?
None whatsoever. So to run for city council, I needed 30 signatures of registered voters to nominate me. And then they have to be certified. I think I collected like 50 to make sure that they were
Hmm.
all correct. And then raising money.
Yeah.
However, I will say,
Uh-huh.
the first time I ran for office for school board, I only raised $3,000. I didn't put out any mail because I couldn't afford it. It was too expensive. I walked, knocked on doors, talked to people why they should vote for me. And I won. I came in first.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was. So no, it's not really, there's not really experience. It's just people want to know, why should I vote for you?
Hmm.
And if you can articulate that, great. If people are interested, I'd be more than happy to talk to folks. it's all about paying it forward. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I have people who help me get to where I'm at now. I have no problem helping people, you know, if they're interested, advising them, you know, on what it would take.
I'm like, can I sign up?
I know
Can I
one
sign
of
up?
one of the things you said, I mean, I think
uh,
actions speak louder than words sometimes too, right? And you going to
Mhm.
people's
yeah,
doors and knocking and, you know, telling them, that's awesome. I mean, that shows your hustle. That's something that
Yes.
shouldn't go unnoticed because like we talked about earlier, you know, being in public service, it's not for the money, it's not for the fame, it's
no,
because you're
no,
passionate, and that really shows a lot about you. So I wanted to commend you for that
yeah.
too.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I remember. Let me just share. The hardest thing to do is to sell yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to talk about myself. I'm just like, oh my gosh. I remember when they first told me, because Councilwoman Martinez, she encouraged me to run for school board. Her and, you know, another one of our friends were already in office, and they told me and my I guess running not running mate, he was running for the high school board, I was running for the elementary board. They're like, you guys have to walk every day. As soon as you get home from work, you need to start walking on doors, knocking on doors. And I was like, all right. And I'd get home and I'd be tired, and they'd be texting me, where are you at right now? What streets are you on? We're gonna come by and see that you're knocking. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just want a day off. Like I just want to go to my daughter's soccer practice,
Aw.
you know? But it's a commitment for sure. So I mean, that's what we do. We help out the next generation because we're not gonna be here forever. So, you know, I'd be happy, anybody who's interested. I mean, elections will be coming up in another quick 2 years. I mean,
It's gonna be
Wow.
fast.
Yes.
yeah.
This past
So
year has been already quick, so we're excited
yeah,
for it.
it has.
Hmm.
So I want to share a story with you guys. My very first council meeting for the city of El Monte. This is when I thought to myself, holy smokes, what did I get myself into? So it was December 2 years ago, and they're like, okay, well, one of the first items we were going to be voting on was cannabis. And I remember like, okay, Councilwoman, we're good. Well, closed session starts at 6, open session starts at 7. And I said, okay. Then as the meeting approached, they said, Councilwoman, we are going to pick you up from your home and drop you off. And I said, is this normal protocol? Like, what's going on? And they said, we're expecting a big turnout of protesters, probably about 300 protesters. So we're going to send an unmarked police car to pick you up at your home at 5 o'clock. They're going to pick up the other elected officials, and they'll take you to City Hall. And then when we're done, the unmarked police vehicle will take you home. They'll bring you in through the side. You'll come into the police department,
Oh
and we'll
wow.
usher you into City Hall. And I'm thinking,
Wow.
I felt like I was getting jumped in somewhere, you know?
I-
That meeting went till about 1 in the morning.
oh
My
wow.
Oh,
very first council
wow.
meeting. I was at City Hall for 8 hours, my first meeting, and I thought, "Ay, Dios mío, like what am I doing?" And
Wow.
yeah, it was that one was a big one for it being my first meeting, my first official vote. I was
Mhm.
like, wow, wow, like everybody was watching. So that was one of my interesting stories as a councilwoman, one of the unique experiences. I've never had to have a police escort ever since, never again. But that certainly one was that kind of like, I'm like, you know, did I do the right thing by running? Maybe I should have just stayed on the school board. This
That's
wouldn't have
funny.
happened. Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then and then let me just share one with you from just a couple of days ago over the weekend. I thought this was a funny story. So, you know, we're in COVID and we have to wear our masks, right? So I'm like, oh, I got to go to Sam's Club. I need to go pick up some groceries, and there's a couple of things I needed. So I had literally, you know, I had showered, I had put on like my Nike pantsuit and jacket. My hair was wet. I threw my hair up in a chongo, right, in a bun, and I have my mask on, no makeup, and I'm in there shopping. They had the disinfectant towels, and I was like, oh, I should get some for my mom and my dad. So I grabbed two, one for me and one for my parents. And then one of the workers comes to me and says, "Excuse me, it's only one per household." And I said, "Oh, okay then." And so, I'm grabbing a couple of the things. I'm getting ready to take back the towels. And then he turns to me and he goes, "Aren't you the new mayor of El Monte?" And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, "Yes." And I'm thinking to myself, how did he recognize me? Like, my hair's up in a bun, wearing a mask, no makeup. I'm like, oh, I gotta be careful what I'm wearing when I step out of this house, because it was
Yeah.
it was it was funny. And I was just like, well, like, people are paying attention.
Yeah.
People were paying attention in this race. So
I think it's the power of social media, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you see, stuff on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and you're recognizable. If you go to Sam's Club, if you go to Lamppost Pizza, people are gonna recognize
right.
you.
Right. And I do go to Lamppost every now and then, yeah, it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I can be so shy and, to myself. I like to be private sometimes. And just kind of like how public this has, of course I'm in a public post, but it wasn't like this when, I feel like when I was a school board member or a councilwoman, it's like this mayorship is taking it to a whole new level. So I'm still adjusting to it. But for anyone who's listening, if you do see me, feel free to come say hi.
Say hi.
Yeah, feel free to come say hi. Sometimes I might look intimidating, or I might look serious because I'm always thinking of stuff. But no, please, by all means, come say hi, introduce yourself. Want to get to know more of you.
That's why we wanted you on the show, Mayor Ancona, because I feel like you're so approachable, and like you were so nice to like message us back. I remember like when we first messaged you out, I told my boyfriend, my partner, Ghost, that I don't think she's gonna message back. I don't think she's going to. Oh, mayors don't do that. And he's like, oh no, just we'll see. And yeah. 10 minutes later, he messaged me back like, "Oh, I love to be on the show." I was like, "Oh,
oh my gosh!"
So
well,
incredible.
To me, it's my community, right? And I want you guys to get to know me on a different level. Social media, I really tried to remain accessible during the campaign. People had a lot of questions. I heard their concerns. I've written them down. And I know I had mentioned, like, I didn't want this to be too political in regards to, I want people to get to know me. But, some of the big things that I did here is the homelessness issue. I'm championing that. Obviously, it's something important to all of us on the city council. I'm not going to say it's not just me. It's important to us. So we definitely want to, get all these folks sheltered. So we're talking to different agencies to see how we're going to do that. Our roads, it's a hot topic, but there's a plan in place. We have a lot of capital improvement projects going on. I'm talking to city staff as to how we can put that information out there to our community as to how we're going to roll out each phase of, improving our roads. There's not going to be much going on during the winter because it's just not the right time to do it. But in the spring, it'll pick up again. So that's going to be coming. Trees, people's trees were cut down and people want their trees back. So working to see, how we can get some grants or team up with folks to help us, get more trees planted throughout the city. It's good for the environment. It's good for the air, keep our homes cooler. Businesses, people want more businesses. I can't say what we're working on, but I'm hoping to bring in some new businesses. Hopefully within the next month, you guys might start hearing some stuff about it. Yeah, I know.
It's exciting.
It is. I see so much potential in our city. We do have a lot of vacant buildings. And I know right now it's tough times because of the pandemic. So it might take some time really to get some businesses in. So I think it's important right now that we support the businesses that we do have. I'll say one of my newer favorite spots. Actually, they're not so new anymore. But 2 years ago, I called it my campaign headquarters, Sakura, over here on Lower Zuzan Peck Road.
Okay. I've been there. It's bomb.
Oh,
we're heading there now.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so It's so good. And they just acquired the space next door.
Yeah, I
They're
saw
going
that.
to open up. Yeah, it's going to be called Mixology.
Yeah.
So that's one of my new favorite spots, at least in the city. Well, not so new anymore. One of my staple childhood places is Nick's Burgers on the corner of Arden and Valley.
Yes,
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
the
good.
the chicken dinner. That's anytime my family goes to order food there, I'm
Mhm.
like, get me a chicken dinner, chicken dinner. It just takes me back to being a kid. I grew up on Valma Avenue over there on that side. Progress on Main.
Oh,
I
Yes.
don't know if you
yes.
guys have been there. I'm so excited they finally opened 2 years ago when they had secured that spot. That
Hmm.
was going to be my campaign kickoff. I was going to use their vacant space as the site of my campaign kickoff party.
Wow.
And then we were planning it, and then they told me, "Oh, the air conditioning is not working." And it
Mm,
was late August, and it's 100-degree weather. And I said, "Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to switch it out." But now they're open, so if we can find ways to continue to support them, they're an amazing business. I think they're going to be a
Hmm.
big staple in the Main Street area as we work
mhm.
to revitalize that street and bring. I would love to see that become like a downtown Monrovia and uptown
Yeah.
Whittier, Old Town Pasadena. I know Old Town Pasadena, that's huge.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's shooting for the stars, but I'll
We can
land
do it.
somewhere amongst there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Uptown El
fear
Monte. I get see what
uptown
you
on
mean.
money.
Hmm.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, I've been listening. I've been listening, and the the biggest challenge to get through right now is obviously this pandemic
Mhm.
and helping our businesses stay afloat, our small businesses. So I have a lot of work to do. Actually, we have a lot of work to do
Yeah.
as a council and also as a community, right?
Hmm.
Coming together to help keep each other, in business and healthy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
Mayor
all
Ancona.
about, sorry, it's all about supporting small businesses,
Mhm.
especially in our community, right? We have a lot
yeah,
of people that have been on the show that have small businesses, and we continue
yeah,
to give them a shout out because,
yeah,
anything helps because, like you said, during this time, it's crazy, but,
yeah.
we'll do one thing at a time, right? And that's all we could do.
I want
Absolutely.
I want to ask you, Mayor Kona. Well, my friend Chrissy, she was on the show on
Mhm,
episode 12, and she's really big on like organizing the community and stuff.
oh,
Would you ever think of creating like a community coalition, like where we can just like volunteer? I know that there's like so many people in Almani that would want to volunteer just to
mhm,
do like help out, just to help out like our city. And it would be great for like students to get credit in that way. I know there's so many
mhm,
people like especially who listen to our podcast and Chrissy Enriquez.
mhm.
She proposed that idea and she wanted me to especially ask you, like, would you ever think of like
Of
maybe
course.
a coalition?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do community beautification events
Mm-hmm.
alongside of our public works department, community cleanup. Sometimes there's areas that need to be cleaned up, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we even have a community garden over here off of Ramona, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know about it.
Hmm.
But even Arroyo High School, they started a community garden
Oh,
as
nice.
well. They grow vegetables and I believe fruits, and it's all done by the community and this organization. And
Mm-hmm.
then once they kind of harvest, the food, then anybody can come and take it for free.
Okay,
That's
well.
So
awesome.
yeah, so I'd be happy to talk to her and
Mm-hmm.
see, what we can do to, yeah, to,
Perfect.
there's a lot of talk about people are like, we want to get more involved in our community. We want to make it
Mm-hmm.
better. Let me know how I can help. Yes, this would definitely be something that we could take up, with the city council,
Mm-hmm.
and even our city staff and be like, okay, what kind of things can we do? Because I think that as a community, if we start working together to improve it, we're going to work to maintain it,
Mm-hmm.
right? For example, Fletcher Fetch Park, it's a beautiful space.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
People love it,
Mm-hmm.
but every so often I'll get messages, oh, there's a water leak, oh, it's flooding, oh, people aren't picking up after their dogs, so I'm helping
Mm-hmm.
pick up after them. and I applaud them for that. But usually if I get a message that there's a leak or something, I'm immediately forwarding it to my staff, and they're out there taking a look at it. So that's what we got to do. We got to keep an eye out for, making sure our community is safe. Our community is being, the new improvements that we keep them looking nice, that they don't get vandalized or, that type of thing. So yeah, I think that's definitely something that we can work on, moving forward.
So you shared a lot of great knowledge with us, but one of the things we wanted to know is what inspires you? I know we talked about serving community, but what goes through your head? What inspires you? What gives you that power in the morning and wake up and do what you do for a community and your students?
Hi, what inspires me? I think it's just knowing that we can do better for our community. Not to say that we're not doing anything for our community. I think there's a lot of great things that are going on in our community right now. Even from before I came on to the council to now, since I've been serving on the council, and I still see a lot more opportunity. When I was at UCLA, I actually decided to run because of one of my college professors. Wow. He was my Chicano studies teacher, Professor Otto Santana. I took a class with him. It was Latinos in Public Education. And at the end of that class, I believe it was the last day, he said, I hope you learned a lot. Don't forget, if you really want to make an impact in your community, you need to run for local office. Get involved and be a voice for your community. And I was 19 years old, 20 years old, listening to this guy, and that's my professor. And actually, when I ran and I won my school board race, I looked for him, I reached out to him, and I emailed him, and he sent me one of his books. And I told him how he had inspired me, and I always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to run to be a voice in my community. At the time I was a mom. I was a mom with children attending our Manny City School District. So I wanted to have a say in their education and how it was being shaped. So, that always stood with me. When I ran for council and won, I reached out to him again, and he invited me to be a guest lecturer in the same class that he inspired me. So I had the opportunity to speak to the students in his class about my experience. And there just happened to be a student in that class who had followed the exact same steps that I had followed. He was a young man. He went to Shropshire, he went to Guillen, he went to Rosemead, and now he was at UCLA. I was like, I'm like, you could be me in 10 years or in 20 years, like you could run for office and, and make an impact in my community. And I said, and it was this class that inspired me to run. It took me a while, but I eventually did. So to me, I've always worked with students, with families. So to me, it's just like, how can I give back? My parents being immigrants, they left their families in Mexico, and to come to this city where they didn't know the language, they hardly knew anybody, and to have 3 children. We're all actually UCLA grads.
Oh wow.
Go Bruins. Yeah, we're all Yes, we're all Bruins. My parents are just such an inspiration. Their hard work. I think I do it for them. I do it for them because, oh my gosh, I don't get emotional, but here I go.
It's okay.
They sacrifice so much for my brothers and I, leaving their family behind, right? All to chase that American dream. And, they're living comfortably here in El Monte. Their children are successful educators, and my 2 kids are their only grandkids, so they're a little spoiled, but they adore them. And yeah, it's always been about making my parents proud. And I don't tell them often. but it's definitely for
Yeah.
them. It's
Oh,
definitely for them.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure they're super proud of you too. I mean,
Yeah.
as a parent, you can say, "Yeah, my daughter's the mayor of El Monte." You know, it's pretty cool to say. So, and I'm sure they're proud of your brothers too. So that's super
Yes.
awesome, and
Yes.
I really hope they listen to
Absolutely.
this show and
Oh,
they
Yes.
can,
no,
they can
I
hear what
know.
you're saying about them. Mm.
You can definitely
Yeah.
tell you're close to them. I remember
Yeah.
the picture you posted when you got elected or when you
Oh,
won.
yeah.
And I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, that's so awesome. Like with your whole family. Like that's
Yeah.
amazing. And they're
Yeah.
super
The only one that was missing was my son. He wasn't feeling too well.
oh,
Mm.
And that, yeah, that's okay. But, and of course I do it for my kids too. I sacrifice a lot of time with my kids to do what I do.
yeah.
I tell them, you know, I'm sorry you have to share me with the community.
Oh yeah.
This is my calling. I
Mhm.
feel this is my calling. So they love some of it, and some of the other stuff they don't. The other day, it was funny. Shortly after I was elected, they mentioned something like, "Mom, there's a lot of police officers outside. What's going on?" I
Oh
said, oh, let me
wow.
find out, right? Let me find out. And actually, as soon as I got elected I did receive some disturbing text messages and social media messages, kind
Oh
of
wow.
threats. And so I reported it to the police department,
Mhm.
and I said, oh, maybe they're just, driving by to make sure everything's okay. Considering we are the first family of Almani. And they're like, what? And I said, I'm kidding. But they thought it was really cute. They're like, we're the first family? I said, first family of a city. But it was a laughable moment, making
Mhm.
light of something that was so serious, right? Yeah, and that's something that I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. I want people to know that I do listen. I've been brought up to be very respectful, right, to my colleagues, to my elders, to children, to families, so on and so forth. So when I'm receive messages that I feel are offensive or attacking or even threatening, demands are being made, you better do this or we're going to do this. Yeah, you have my attention, but I might be more likely to take a step back and maybe distance myself versus, respect goes a long way.
Mhm.
Give respect, I'll give you the respect, I'll listen to your concerns. But people just, come right off the bat like, what are you doing about this? And I said, well, I'm not even mayor yet. I'm your
Yeah.
councilwoman. I want to vote. Oh, give me a second,
Yeah.
Um, but people can be abrasive, and and I try to listen with an empathetic ear. So I just ask, I'm willing to help. I do serve about 116,000 people. So I sometimes ask for patience as well.
Mhm.
It's not my full-time job. So
Mhm.
I'll get back to you as soon as I can for those of you who are listening. But you can also call our city hall phone number. So and ask to speak, depending on the department.
Mhm.
Or look us up, look up the website and it'll tell you which department you can go to.
Okay.
We obviously
Okay.
have those resources, and then if they're not being responsive, then of course let me know, and I'll tap them on the shoulder to call some people back. It's a tough position, serving a city that's so large. I want to be responsive to everyone, but it does get overwhelming sometimes. So bear with me. Please be patient. Sometimes follow up emails work. So yeah, for those of you who are
Yeah.
listening and live in Almani.
We'll also include the phone number in the show notes. So if
Okay.
people want to call in,
Okay.
we'll have that number on the show notes too.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll make sure to
Mhm.
give you the right number.
Yes.
Let me
I think
see.
also part of it's just half like they're angry with the situation. They're like they need someone to hear them out, and then two, they don't know what resources. So I think it's also combined. And then three, like you're newly elected mayor, so they're like, should I call? Who do I need to call? So
Right. They're like, we voted for you. Get to work.
like
Yes.
listen. Everyone needs to listen and just be compassionate. It's been a hard year already.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It
as you
really
can
has.
see, like just Mayor Jessica Ancona is so sweet and nice, and she is so helpful. So just give her some time. Everyone who's
Yes,
listening.
Everybody take a chill
definitely,
pill.
please.
Like,
Take a breathe in, breathe out.
Right. No, absolutely. Like I said, if I wasn't here to help people out, I wouldn't have ran for office. So yeah, and there's 4 other council members you can call too. No. we all work for the same cause. So yeah.
Awesome. So Mayor Ancona, I know that there's a big event coming soon, which is you're being sworn in December. Can you tell us more about the process and maybe how the public can view your
Okay.
sworn in?
Absolutely. So, in fact, I just had a couple meetings about that this morning. And so, as we're getting ready to transition out. Originally, the date was set for December 15th, but being that the Registrar Recorder's Office is getting ready to certify the election results, I believe that they will be certified by November 30th. We have a scheduled council meeting December 1st. So God willing, as soon as we get that message from the Registrar Recorder's Office, we will be doing the official swearing in December 1st at our council meeting, which is scheduled we begin at 6 o'clock with closed session, then we go into open session at 7. I'll post some information about it so that people can tune in. The website is usually on the city. I'm sorry, the link to watch the meeting is usually on the city website, and you can just click on it and you can watch from there. We normally have a ceremonial oath of office ceremony, which is open to the community. And I was really looking forward to that this year, considering the all-women council. I thought it was an opportunity to celebrate women. I had grand ideas, outdoors, socially distanced at our Sale Park, but because of the COVID shutdown, I think it's going to have to be put on hold, the ceremonial event. So I will officially be taking office next week. If it doesn't happen on the 1st, if the election results aren't certified, then for sure by the 3rd, I will be sworn in. So I'll give you guys information to tune in on the 1st.
Awesome.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to take the gavel at that time and be seated as mayor. So it's exciting. It's really exciting. And usually it's like, the big buzz is like, who's going to swear you in? Who's going to swear you in, right? Because just because of our connections politically, our supporters. And when I got sworn in as councilwoman, I had the opportunity to have Senator Connie Leyva, who was the chair, I believe, of the Women's Caucus in the state legislature. And to me, that was such an honor because she's, been sitting there for so long. And, she agreed to swear me in. And for me, it was like, oh my gosh, I think even at the time, even my colleagues there were like, she got Connie Leyva to come in.
Wow.
So that was awesome. So this time around, I was thinking,
Kamala Harris
to come down. No, I don't know her. Oh my gosh,
you never know.
Yeah, I don't know her, but I do have some friends that I've met just throughout my career in elected office that might have started off as like city council people and then went into the assembly or the Senate, or I met them as senators, and now they're like big time commissioners for the state, and or I know the state's superintendent of public construction as well. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how amazing would it be to have one of these people? But then I also understand it's COVID. I don't want to put anybody at risk. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll do something after COVID. But,
something on Main Street, a big event.
Yes. Oh, I thought about what if we did a drive-in swearing in ceremony, like we do the movies on Main.
That'd be so cool.
So, Yeah, so I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, I have to take a look at what our city staff can do, and also what the other council members want to do that are being sworn in, right? It has to be comfortable for all of us. And then I also thought of just making it super meaningful, right? It's like, do I want to do the political swearing in, or do I want to make it meaningful and have my children swear me in?
Mm.
Oh, I didn't know you can do that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so
For
cool.
the ceremonial oath of office, yeah, you can pick whoever you want
That's
because
so
it's just
cool.
ceremonial. That's why we do the official oath of office in City Hall. We have to be sworn in by the city clerk.
Okay.
So yeah, they do it officially there, and then we have the ceremonial. So we'll see. I'm gonna see what
Also,
other cities are up to too. I'm gonna call
yeah.
my colleagues in other cities and be like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
maybe take some of their ideas.
Once you know, let us know, and we'll be sure to share with everybody.
We'll be watching.
Of course, of course. Yeah, you can start off by watching December 1st,
There it is.
or December 3rd. I'll let you know for sure.
Right.
But it'll be exciting.
Mayor Ancona, we like to end the show with like movies or TV shows or books you recommend. Do you recommend anything for our listeners? Like,
That's a tough one. Because like lately, I've just been kind of binge watching anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
or
One
anything
of
you've
the
been
most
watching?
yes, one of the most recent things I've been watching is The Queen's Gambit. I went through it.
Oh,
Yes.
that show is
It's so
awesome.
good.
I went through it so quickly, and it was funny. I almost thought it somewhat reminded me of the campaign season and me coming into office. Everything is so
Yes.
strategic and how you make moves. So
Exactly.
so I loved it. She's a
Yeah.
woman in a man's world, so
Mm-hmm.
fierce.
And a
Love that show.
fierce chess competitor.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
I don't know how to play chess, but now I'm like, okay, I want to learn.
Now
Or
I
I
want to
mean,
learn.
yeah.
Right. So I think I need to learn too. One that I had watched a while back, I totally got into it, was La Casa de Papel, Money Heist.
I heard about that
Um,
too. Yeah.
you guys need to watch it in Spanish. If well, for those of you who speak Spanish and understand Spanish, watch it in Spanish. It was awesome. I became a huge fan. In fact, I bought my Halloween costume as one of the bank robbers, but obviously didn't get to wear it, so that was silly. My daughter actually got a TikTok of me doing that. I thought she was just being silly, recorded me, and she put it on TikTok, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Julie, what are you doing?"
That's how you got votes.
Um,
I know. So
Seriously.
many votes.
No. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm just thinking shows, movies. I don't know. I'm a sucker for romantic comedies. I love them. So
Yes.
you know, I've been married to my career
Yeah.
and my life in politics. That's what's taking up my time. And then in regards to books, I just recently actually got A Promised Land by Barack Obama.
Yes. I
Yes.
just got mine
So
2 days ago.
oh my gosh. So yeah, I just started reading it. I even bought a few extras for
Yes.
some Christmas gifts. I had read Becoming by Michelle Obama.
Yes.
Actually, about a year and a half ago, I went on vacation. One thing I like to do, I like every now and then I'll take vacations by myself.
Oh wow.
I went to Holbox, which is a island just off the coast of like the Yucatan Peninsula, Quintana Roo,
Okay.
a few hours from Cancun. And I took my book and I barreled through it in a few days. Just I went by myself. My family's from Yucatan, so first I stopped with my family, and then I continued on. I went to this island by myself, and it was just so peaceful and serene and beautiful. So that was a great book. She's so inspiring.
I love
I
that
don't know.
book. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess right now, just some of these books that have been inspiring me or have been these like great leaders and whatnot. At least in my lifetime, in my present
Mm-hmm.
lifetime, right? Who have been
Yeah.
impactful.
Have you watched her documentary, Mayor Ancona?
Yes, I did. I
Yeah,
did.
so good.
So love that as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. What was the other question?
I was gonna
You-
follow up on something that you said just about a leader. I think that's like a strong word. And to you, what defines a leader? I know we didn't ask you this earlier, but what defines a leader?
Someone who can see maybe the changes that need to be made,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
but doesn't set out to do it on their own. Someone that can get people to join them, right, in that cause. To me, that's the true meaning of leadership. It's not about leading folks. It's about getting people to join you
Yeah.
and bringing that positive change.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that, I'm hopeful that I will be successful in doing that. I've had, leadership positions in the sense of being a principal at a school for 5 years. It was taxing, but to me at first it was about building relationships with the people that, I supervised. And not only, and that was when I was able then to start leading them. I invested a whole year, almost 2 years, in getting them to trust me, to build that relationship, to show them that I can roll up my sleeves and, get in the trenches with them. If the janitor was out, in the cafeteria during lunchtime, needed to be wiped down, or someone spilled milk, I'd get the mop and go mop it up.
Leading by example.
Yeah, in my heels and dressy todo, like I would just, I would be there. I'd help wipe down the tables. Just recently, one of our teachers resigned at Linwood, at Fireball High School, and I taught for 3 days. I haven't taught in forever.
Oh wow.
But I took on the class and I taught the class for 3 days. And it made me miss teaching a little bit. It made me miss the kids a lot. But to me, that's what you do. You lead by example, right? You can't ask people to do something that you're not willing to do.
Yes.
So to me, that's how I define leadership.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, like you said, leading by example. I think it's one thing someone saying, do this, do that, do that. It's like, why? I haven't seen you do it,
Yeah.
I know we're so happy for you. We're so excited for the future. Just everything this past year, it's been really difficult for a lot of people. But when we heard your news, we're so excited.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been exciting here too. Like I said, I never thought I'd be doing this. Never dreamed that I'd be running for this office. But I did. I was moved to make a change. And here I am now, right? And for all the little girls watching, all of our Amani Phillies, this could be you guys down the road. We have 2 Amani Phillies alumni sitting on the council now. So, Lauren, are you next?
I would love to. Where do I sign up? Seriously.
We'll talk later then.
We'll talk. Yes. But thank you so much for coming on our show, Mayor Ancona. I know you're super busy and you're in the transition of being sworn in. So thank you again. We can't thank you enough.
Yeah, we thank you for your time. We appreciate you stopping by on Zoom and hopping on and talking to us for a little bit. And before we end the show, we always like to get a quote of the week for our listeners, or something that you like to say to people, or something that you've read like you want to share with. So do you have a quote for us to share?
I was thinking, I'm like, which quote is meaningful for me? And, in this time of just the election season and how everything turned out, it's really been important for us as women to empower one another and stand up together, right? So I have a quote from Maya Angelou. And it says, each time a woman stands up for herself, she stands up for all women. And I feel what moved me to run for mayor was a need to stand up for myself, to not be silenced in a position where I should have a voice, right? Where I was elected to do. So not only did I stand up for myself, but I'm standing up for all the other women that are going to come after me and sit at, on that dais or hold that gavel. That's what I found was inspiring to me. And I wanted to share that here on the show.
That's so inspiring, so powerful. I love that quote. And I love my Angelou.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
And for anyone that's listening, I'm sure they're going to be inspired as well. And the younger girls.
Yes. Well, that's the hope, right?
Yes.
That's the hope.
And is there anything else you would like to share with us, Mayor Ancona? Did we miss anything?
Gosh, not that I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure speaking with you guys. Like I said, this is my first podcast. So
Yay!
it was fun. At first I was like, oh, what am I going to share with them? And am I even going to be interesting? But no, thank you. Thank you. It was great to be on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some of the folks being excited to listen in. So I hope I don't disappoint. I know
Yeah.
we've been talking for a while, so
Yeah.
yeah, I want to take this opportunity. We're for, I know this will probably air, after Thanksgiving, but it is the eve of Thanksgiving. I'm so grateful and blessed to be sitting here, right? Healthy,
Mm,
my family. I'm getting ready to spend some time, much needed time with my family. Grateful and blessed to be talking to you two, and have this opportunity to have the community get to know me a little bit more. So thank you for inviting me, and just want to wish everybody a happy and blessed Thanksgiving. If any of you are in need, or if any family is in need here in the community,
mhm.
please feel free to reach out to me. We do have resources that we can help connect families with. I can pass things along to our city staff, and we want to make sure, this tough time, especially with the holidays coming up. I'm already getting information for toy drives, and there'll be another food drive or turkey
That's perfect.
drive. So we want to make sure, that our families, have a little something to celebrate, even though
Yeah,
we can't celebrate the way we normally do.
Well said. Well said.
perfectly stated. Thank you so much, Mayor Ancona. And again, I know you're super busy, but we're so grateful for this episode. And we got a lot of feedback so far, and they're so thrilled to hear this episode and hear your
Yeah,
personal side of the story. And yes, congratulations again.
thank
So
you.
we're now active on social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram at DL Weekly Show. Feel free to follow us. We're actually on YouTube now, so
Mm-hmm.
this will be uploaded to YouTube. Don't forget to rate us on Apple Podcasts. And Mary Kona, if you want to talk about your social media handles or anything
Sure,
out to you.
absolutely. So I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I'll be honest, I'm not very active on Twitter, but I might. Every now and then I am. So my Twitter handle is at Jess Ancona, JessAncona. On Instagram, I have my Ancona for Almani. That's more of a campaign page. I do have my Mayor Ancona page. That was my councilman page switched over. So it's Mayor underscore Ancona. You guys can follow me there. I'll be posting a lot more information related just to city events there. I have a Facebook. Also, I had my campaign Ancona for El Monte Mayor. I've now updated Mayor Ancona, Mayor Jessica Ancona on Facebook page. So you can follow me there as well. And usually I try to make sure that I'm sharing as much information of what's going on in the community. If you don't follow the City of El Monte page, I'm usually, resharing information or sharing information about our upcoming council meeting, and maybe some controversial items that people want to call and speak in on. We always want to make sure that we hear the voice of our community, because at the end of the day, we are working for you. We sit on that dais for you. You put us there, so our job is to work for you. So I would love to hear from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you once again for being on our show. We're super happy and excited that you were able to come on here and talk to us. So thank you once again.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace and love.